So Jake Paul's fighting Anderson Silva.
That's what it says.
Anderson Silva ought to kill him. Are they fighting him? Which way are they fighting?
Probably just boxing.
Jake Paul might beat him then. Silva, the one that broke his leg, didn't he? Kicked the guy in the
and it
shin.
Shattered his leg or wrapped around the other guy.
He was a badass until that time, though, wasn't he?
Oh, he's still a badass. Yeah, I mean, he was getting a little old when it happened, but
he was before that. Nobody could beat him, could they? He was real flexible and tall, and
he just fucking pick you apart.
Could he whip that guy's ass in town?
He'd hit him. Yeah.
If that guy ever got a hold of him, would he be in trouble though?
He was pretty good on the ground. He could hold his own on it. I mean, he's Brazilian.
Would the guy in town whip the dickhead from Ireland's ass?
No. I don't. I mean, Connor's not bad on the ground, but you got to get him on the ground. Connor's fought a lot of wrestlers before and held his own. You just gotta find your punch.
What a pro hockey player sitting in my seat on the jet coming back.
Really?
Yeah, he had my first class seats that I couldn't get.
Fucking tell him, hit the road, Jack.
It was old Messier. He's a fucking stout old fucker.
You need to go all the way back to the back. Sit by the shitters. That's where you can find your seat at there.
And you could sure tell where all the baseball players were sitting.
What do you mean?
We had a lot of baseball players on our plane too. A lot of the Yankees got beat by Houston the night before.
So they were all flying. They had to fly fucking.
No. There was a couple of Yankee players that were going home. I guess they were from Texas, and they were on the plane also. You could all tell, all tall, good-looking, thin guys with the big hands on them and shit.
Right. There's a video of Jeter, and one guy asked him like, were you happier? Were you happier? And he rattled off the years. I don't remember the years, but he said, were you happier when you lost a World Series, or were you happier if you didn't even make a World Series? You know, what's the difference? He's like, I didn't win. It's all the same to me. Yeah. He's like, yeah, but you got to the World Series. Like, if I didn't win, then there's
just an extra 2 months of work, or a month of work.
There's no difference in my mind. I'm pissed off either way.
Well, these guys were sure whining in New York about the Astros. It's funny, the Astros cheated and won, and everybody bitched. Now they're not cheating, and they're still winning because they have great talent.
Did you see where Mac Jones, the ball that got intercepted, hit a guide wire?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah, it hit one of the camera that's over the field. He threw the ball, and it hit that guide wire.
And that's why it fell down.
And that's why it took a weird dive, and he got benched for it. So he might have lost his job because of a cable. That's
probably the best thing happened to him. Because
New England
has no talent around him. If he goes to Indy, he's going to have an upgraded running back and an upgraded wide receiver.
I'm sure he's pissed off about it.
Well, who knows? The way the NFL goes, what's his name? Might get hurt in the first series next week.
Right.
I mean, that shit goes on all the time. But I said, if you can look back on our podcast, I talked about Zappy in April. If you looking back, I talked about him. And I said that the Patriots got a steal when they drafted that Zappy kid at quarterback. And I said it. You can go back and look at it. Because I was listening to one of the podcasts, and they were talking about him.
They love him.
And he's got a lot of talent. Because the guy kept saying, he said, a team needs to draft this Zappy kid. He's going to be, and then New England got him. And I told it on the podcast. I told Michelle, I said, that's probably a really good pick for them. I didn't expect it to work out like this.
I just think it's like a dick measuring contest for Belichick. He likes to get these guys, and then he likes to play them.
Well,
like, look what I found, you schlubs.
Zappy is better than.
I was doing my homework, and what were y'all doing? Y'all weren't even paying attention. All right.
The really funny thing was the Boston Deals were talking about he was going to end up breaking the record that night break.
And went shit.
Yeah, it didn't work out so good. What are you thinking, Ollie, though? Shit. Unprepared.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Bangtail Whiskey. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
I think I might need to change. You're all Hawaiian, and I've got a hoodie and my new Cromer hat on. Trying to be cool like Lee Chose and Blake Poppy. Blake also has one of these. His is probably like a size 12.
So you just done a free shout out to Stormy Cromer.
Well, I'm just saying, like you've got a Hawaiian shirt on, and I've got a fucking hoodie and a wax hat on. So
this is
like,
not a Hawaiian shirt. This
got
is
palm trees.
It's got fish on it. It is a Columbia shirt. It's summertime here again.
No, it's not. It's fucking 50 degrees when I
It was
drove
kind of
up.
damn chilly when I walked out the door. I was thinking, I'll probably underdress today.
Yeah.
But you know what? I got to wear my Filson bibs for 2 days this week or last week, and it sure was nice.
Oof.
Them suckers are nice.
Wool.
That's how cold it was. It was 44 fucking degrees for a high for about 3 days in a row. Saw some snow. It spitted snow. So
It spit snow in Lubbock
Yeah, I saw that.
on Sunday night.
That's crazy.
Trace amount. And I think Amarillo had a little bit too.
It's about that time.
It's getting to be that time.
Geese flying over my house left and right all the time.
It's going to be nice. It's going to be summertime whenever opening weekend next weekend.
Well, it's going to be 50.
80 degrees for the high.
No, they've changed it.
No, they have not.
Yes, they did. I just saw it today. And there's a pretty good chance of rain system on the opening weekend of goose season too now.
Not according to Apple.
Well, I wouldn't listen
That's
to
where I
Apple
go to
shit.
get
They
my
their shit from Japan.
Where I get my news from.
or China or wherever it is.
They're pretty accurate most of the time. Not too bad.
You know, the most patriotic people in our country or Oriental people. Am I allowed to say that? Asian Pacific. What am I supposed to say here?
Imports.
That's good. Imports.
People that were not born here, but see how good
Well,
it is.
I don't know where if they're born here or not. But everywhere I go, that is a national monument, a national treasure, whatever it is, there's a high percentage of people that are from that area there. Now, I don't know the difference. I don't know how the hell you can tell the difference between a Korean, a Japanese, and a Chinese by looking at them. I can't. But everywhere I go,
expect you to either.
everywhere I go, there is an abundance of people from that area, and they're very polite, and they're very nice, and they like to take pictures. But they appreciate the things that made our country more than we do.
Well, yeah.
We went on a tour. I'm not going to talk much about the trip because we got other shit we're going to talk about. But anyways, we went on a tour called the Tunnel. They've got a tunnel at Niagara Falls now on the Canada side that they just opened like last summer. And it's pretty neat. You could go down, you walk through a big tunnel, and you wake up and you're on, or not wake up, you walk in and you're on the very bottom of the Niagara Falls. It's a pretty cool deal. Man, it's technology. And they built that thing in the 1920s or 30s.
What?
It was a
the tunnel?
The tunnel was for moving water so they could generate electricity.
Right.
But it's just interesting. The technology and the things we did. I think that guy said there's 10 million bricks in that thing or something. It was an ungodly amount of bricks.
So what do? They dam up to work underneath it, or what do they do?
No. It was a tunnel where they moved water. They sucked water in on one side, and it went through generators, and it sucked water, and it shot it back out into the Niagara, into the river there. And they do it different now, and so they just turned them tunnels into a tourist trap.
Do you know the Indians that lived at the bottom of Niagara Falls were obese? They would just catch the shit that washed away in the river.
Yeah, I don't know about all that.
They were well fed.
And who told you this?
It's common knowledge, Jeff.
You've never been to the Niagara Falls then. There's not like an area there that's just a cesspool of getting dead shit.
Not anymore.
Well, so they changed it?
Well, there's people there now, Jeff. There was no people there.
There was no way down to be on the bottom of that thing a long time ago.
What do you mean? It doesn't fall and like go into a river?
It goes into a river that's got a current of about 70 miles an hour.
Well, wherever
There's not a place.
Stops.
There's not even a landing area down
Wherever
there.
it stops.
It's sheer.
Right.
Let me
and
tell
then
you
it
something.
spits them out.
If Geronimo got in a canoe in that place in that area, he had done fucked up big time. There wasn't no turning back. So I don't know if I buy that. That's a wide river too, right there. Until you see it and you see the energy, it's hard to fathom it. Because before I had ever seen it, I never would have thought how fast it's going. There's a huge amount of energy right there. I did not see anything saying about fat Indians.
Nice and plump.
Well, so I don't know. Anyways, let's get on to what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about public hunting today. That's what we're going to talk about. This podcast is going to be about public hunting, the do's and don'ts. The first thing that comes to my mind is if you're hunting public property, and this just wears me out, and I get this all the time, and I got it the other day, a guy said, we shouldn't be guiding duck hunts on public property. And I'm against that, and I'm going to tell you why. Do you say anything about the fishing guides that hunt on public property? They're on public water, and they're guiding fishing trips all the time.
Right.
I understand why it would piss you off that a guy is guiding hunts on the same place you can hunt for free. He's not paying land lease. We pay land lease, so I understand. But there's people paying him for his services.
Hmm.
No different if you go on a guided fishing trip. But I've not one time heard anybody bitch about fishing guides getting to fish on public waters.
I mean, it's a murky area for sure, and I'm still trying to prove you wrong about these Indians, but I guess I'll let that go for now. It's a murky area. The guy's gotta, he's got to find where these birds are, and he's got to find where hunters are not. So I don't know, but at the same time, how big of an area are we talking?
It doesn't.
I think that matters.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. It matters a ton, because if you're talking about just acres and acres of public land, well, no. I mean, he probably okay. But if somebody's guiding hunts up here at Truscott, that's tiny. It's different in my mind.
But they have the same right to be there as you do.
But to make a living off of something that's free? I don't know.
What's the difference? Okay. We'll use our good friend Jeff Coates, for example. Jeff guides sea duck hunts. He's in public waters.
In the ocean.
In the ocean.
There's millions of acres.
I agree. And I think what Jeff's doing is completely right. But I also think it's right if Joe Bob is hunting a slough at a public lake in East Texas that's 50 acres big and he goes and runs his hunts. I
don't see.
I understand where the frustration gets from a guy who lives somewhere and he pays taxes and he's like, well, it's not fair for him to come in and make a living off something, but he has the same rights you have. But it's not against the law. I had a game warden here one time tell me that one time, and I asked him, I said, well, do you complain about the guys fishing when you go to the Laguna Madre? He goes, no, but I never thought of it that way. I said, it's the same thing. You're using public water to make a living.
Yeah, but the ducks a lot of time are in these confined areas, and
they come and go. You can run them off where the fish are stuck there.
You're right. So you can go chase. There's plenty. You can go a half mile away or however far away, 3 miles off of the fishing guide, and you still got a chance of catching a fish. If you're not in the confined area where the ducks are or the geese are, you might as well be fishing. Now,
here's one rule I believe: if you're hunting public water and you're in a boat, you should have to have a captain's license.
Yeah.
So that part would be a little bit different. But if you're hunting public water, whether it's and I'm sure Arkansas has rules that they don't let you guide on public land. I don't know what the rules are. And there's some states that have them rules.
Right.
But places that don't have the rules, the guy that's the hunting outfitter has the same exact rights as Joe Blow does. It's public land.
I don't know why you would want to put yourself in that position.
I wouldn't.
Repeatedly.
Because you're just asking for someone to come set up next to you or be there before you get there. And, that's why we don't hunt any public spots. Every once in a while we'll do a duck hunt on a public pieces of property up here, but it's very, very rare. Yep. And it's during the middle of the week when we know nobody else is going to be around, and we bed that place to make sure nobody's coming in.
Right.
Just because of that. But but you're at the mercy of whatever happens.
Right.
When you do that. So, but that's a complaint that I see all the time. And I always want to think, but you don't have a problem paying going a fishing guide on the same thing, and they're not in public waters.
They are, but I think every situation is different. Like I said, if there's thousands of acres that hunters can choose from, then, more power to you. But if it's a little bitty slough, I just don't know why an outfitter would want to do it.
I wouldn't want to put myself
repeatedly.
In that. No, I'm
like you said. There's on the odd chance there's a public place here that we'll hunt. We had to teal hunt it this last year.
Mm-hmm.
We did it one time.
Yep, but you take a chance sometimes
when
you do
and
it.
if somebody would have been there, we would have just had to have gone to another side.
But we also told our clients, this is what's going to happen before you get there.
Chance. Right.
This is a chance. I was like, that's good. Okay. Another thing that I saw this week that I thought was kind of very interesting. I thought there cannot be these people this stupid, but he showed me a picture of it. So there are stupid people. Guys in South Carolina, I think it was in South Carolina, a guy sent me a message. It might have been on our podcast private page. He went on a hunt this morning or the other morning and got there to go duck hunting for their opener. And they get there and they get set up. And then there's two headlights come at them walking through the woods. And he says, hey, we're over here. And that guy said, there ain't been nobody been here all year. He said, well, we're duck hunting over here. He said, well, we come here to deer hunt. And the guy climbed up in blaze orange and looked to be 50 yards from their decoys and had a big old fat fucker sitting in a tree. And let me tell you something. He was a fat boy and it was a big tree. It had to be. But he was sitting there. And I told him, I said, I'd rip into one then. And they did. And he said, he did. The guy pulled a rifle out and shot in the pond. Now, that would have pissed me off.
He's a fucking dick.
But what do you expect duck hunters to do? Not duck call and shoot? I mean,
Right.
it's duck season. You're hunting public land.
Right.
You know, the deer hunter was wrong in that regard. Or
Whoever
they're
was
not-
there last was wrong.
Yes, whoever got there first. If those duck hunters would got there and that guy was deer hunting, hey, I'm deer hunting here, they should have said, hey, I'm sorry, we're going to go
Right.
somewhere else. But that guy was deer hunting. He got there second. First of all, he's not going to fuck up their hunt much other than have an orange on. Sitting in a tree. A duck ain't
Right.
looking in a tree for
No.
some fat fucker in orange.
No.
Look, thinks a damn weather balloon crashed in there.
Right.
But they're going to fuck up his hunt.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yes.
sure they did. So that to me, the etiquette on this is on public places are if you get somewhere first,
It's yours.
it's yours to hunt. Now, there are different situations. I don't know the rules on blinds. I know in some places you got to put your name on your blind and it's your blind.
right.
And if you don't show up by a certain time, someone else can hunt it.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing I notice in most of these debates is nobody wants to work together.
Right.
One guy said he got to a duck boat ramp the day, and there was one other group unloading the same time he was. It was a small parcel of water. He goes, "Where are you guys going to hunt? That way we can stay out of each other's way." That's a mature way to be.
Right. Or if you got two buddies and I got two buddies, well, let's just do four together.
And there's a lot of people out there who have become friends that way that are lifetime
Sure.
friends that met duck hunting. Mags and Ray met that way
Right. Met at a boat launch.
at a boat launch one day and started talking, and now they just got back from 10 days in North Dakota together.
This video is making the rounds, and I don't know what it is. Mute that. Hunter harassment, and I've seen it everywhere. It's already got almost 200,000 views. Game we're not going to watch all 30 minutes, but let's see.
Welcome back to another video, everyone. This morning, me and Bischoff finally made it.
I don't give a shit about hearing any of this.
What are they fighting about?
Maybe
Property line?
Property line?
My grandpa here. I'm trying to shoot ducks. What's the point of that? You should have brought grandpa up and talked to me then, shouldn't you? Well, I wasn't planning. I wasn't planning on it my whole fucking life. I wasn't planning.
So these kids are where they're supposed to be at.
I'm assuming, but it looks like they might be on the property line.
Well, scoot up 2 feet then.
That's all right. We're good. Thanks. Half the price of the fine.
Try to get money out of us.
Should have said yes, so give us your money.
Maybe we can wait to shoot.
Yeah.
So now he wants money from them.
That's my property. And I think that he swerved in here and he came back out down there.
Oh, wow.
You're probably right out here.
So
Basically, they hunted the
They-
property line. He's pissed off.
but they are on his corn, which is stupid on their part. Scoot in 2 foot and he ain't got no bitching.
Cornfield's right next to it. Hey, can I hunt there? On the line? I won't go in your car. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Huh.
Happened last year too, didn't it? Same shit. We were gonna set up here and
But see, this ain't public property though. This is just
No,
two
no,
guys not getting
Right.
along, and it don't.
All right, well, sitting in the old Warden's truck here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a
Again, work together.
right.
You ruined both of your mornings.
Well, and if The video starts out and the guy seems pretty hostile. So maybe he
was.
wasn't wanting to work together. I don't know. But if you're on his property line, then I don't know.
Those kids should scooted up 3 foot, said, I apologize. We fucked up. And if you want to call the game warden, call the game warden. We're going to scoot up 3 foot here and we're going to hunt. Then he can get over this shit.
Yeah.
You know, he was going to set up his spread right on the other side where they were. And hunt the other
He was
side.
probably going to hunt the other property, his property line.
We've been there before.
Hunting property lines?
We've hunted on the edges of property lines. We do all the time. People do all the
yeah,
time.
we
But
have
it's
to.
not, we're not trying to push somebody else. There's nobody else hunting next to us usually.
Right.
We hunt on our own property lines versus 2 fields that butt up to each other all the time.
Yeah.
But work together. And that's,
we did not want, we were skipping forward in that video. So
yes. But
there might be some details that we missed. So if you've seen all 30 minutes and we missed something, then feel free to call us out. But it could have all probably been avoided if we'd have just scooted a little bit further into the field. Work together.
that's
What it goes back to.
That's the biggest thing that you do not
Avoid
do.
a conflict.
Yes. And
Because now, like you had him, you just ruined your morning hunt because you had a ranger in your spread.
I grew up as a kid hunting public water all the time. And I was lucky. I grew up when duck hunting, they say there was more duck hunters in the 70s than there are now. But
Right.
I have a hard time believing that. In certain places it probably is. But where we are at here, it's not. There was not very many hunters. And we would hunt public water. And I remember as a kid, Miller Creek used to have an island in it. And we were hunting on the island. And we were set up and we had floaters out and ducks. And I had to be 8 or 9 years old, but I'll never forget this. And my dad was a horrible goose hunter. I finally had him on the line coming in. Set, hooked up. Looking back now, it was probably a flock of 50 lessers. They were cupped up coming in and boom, 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 boom. The guys across the way shot at about 150 yards trying to shoot the geese coming across. They were in a different place.
That sucks.
And I remember my dad saying, I ought to go over there and rip that son of a bitch's head off and shit in his lungs. Boy, he was pissed.
Had him on a line.
Oh, he was pissed. And I probably was crying and upset and mad and I mean all kinds of, but there was no reason for that. Those birds weren't having nothing to do with those guys.
Right.
Be respectful of your neighbors. And I see this all the time. Guys are talking about, if I got ducks swinging, don't shoot at them.
Right.
And I can't imagine people doing that shit. And they do it all the time.
Well, I mean, you gotta look at it from their point of view. They've probably been sitting out there all morning long with no luck, and then this is their opportunity to shoot a flock of ducks swinging at 40 yards, even if they're not coming to them. So they're like, "Fuck."
But you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do that. No, I agree with you 100%. But if they've been sitting out there all morning and they're like, fuck this. Let's rip into them.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here before they come kick our ass.
The
Rip our head off, shit down our lungs. But yes, you should be respectful of your neighbors, and you should be like, they've worked for these birds. This is the last pass. They're swinging on us. They're swinging over us to get to them. It's part of the game, and wish them all the best, but they got an Instagram to feed there, Jeff.
Yeah, that's one of the things that really, I see a lot of that. And then another thing that I see that cracks me up, because I know this happens a lot.
What about if you're dove hunting? What about if you're dove hunting a public place?
You're all shooting the same birds.
What if you're shooting the same ducks? What if you're dove hunting a place, and the dove are trying to get to this one tree, or maybe you're bumming off of your neighbor's lucky duck spinner?
The dove hunting is completely different.
You think so?
Yes, but it's the same.
So if dove are flying past me to get to my buddy who's 50 yards away,
I agree with you on what you're
just
saying.
like when we were dove hunting with Lee,
Yep.
they would swing to get to the lucky duck spinners. But if you're dove hunting on a public place, whose dove are those? Like, he's got the decoys, I don't. I'm just shooting at them when they fly by me.
Well, with dove, since most people miss anyways, you're still going to get your opportunities. I agree with you what you're saying. It's the same premises.
A dove will most likely go the other 50 yards while being shot at.
Yes, and
To
land.
get to the spinner.
Yes,
Because they're stupid.
but
Whereas a duck.
But I agree with what you're saying. You're correct on that. It is the same deal. It's just looked at different because it's dove hunting.
Right.
And so we look at it completely different. Now, one of the weird things that I see, or not one of the weird things I'll talk about the weird part, but is people that aren't on time to the spreads. I mean, and to the water. I mean, you set up at Dan Reese and them were hunting the other day, and they got their blind. They get up set up at night before, and then sleep in their boat, so they get the first place. Somebody comes up, they shine a light, and they go down there, find them another place to go. Well, it has been customary in East Texas now. They've been hiring these homeless people from Dallas, and they go sit their blinds up, and then they go home and go to bed at their fancy houses in Highland Park, and they give a bum $100 to sleep in the boat all night. They get there 30 minutes before shooting time. They pick the bum up, drive him back to the boat dock, drop him off. So if you see a bunch of homeless people walk around boat docks in East Texas, they're holding duck blinds.
Right.
And smart with the guy that's got the $100 to spend. I think it's
100%.
damn smart of him. He gets to sleep, with mom all night. And
Look at all the money that you blow whenever you're waterfowl hunting.
Yep.
You got $1,000 in waders, shin gear waders. Shameless plug there. You got decoys, you got spinners, you got a boat if you need it. What's another $100?
And that's
to
right.
make sure that you've got a good spot in the morning.
To me, it's smart as
Capitalism,
hell.
baby, capitalism.
And I don't understand when more people hunt public water don't pay someone to go sit in their blind
or
all
go
night.
spend the night like Dan Reese
Yes.
does. Seems to work for them.
Yes, they enjoy it, and that's probably a pretty good time.
Mhm.
And
Probably some cold
but
nights.
if you go to if you go rolling in at 6:00 in the morning and shooting time is 6:30, and you drive your boat in the slough and you look and there's somebody set up here and there's somebody set up there and somebody set up there, your ass should have been on time. Don't be one of them dickheads that pulls in between two guys 25 yards away and set up.
Right.
That's the guy that irks me.
Yes.
Zero common sense and zero accountability and zero respect for someone else. He is what gives hunting a bad name.
Yeah, because he's all in it for himself. I'll get there late, and we'll just whatever's left we'll take. And yeah, people 50, they were 100 yards apart. Now all of a sudden they got some jackwagon, and everybody's 30 yards apart.
And nothing is louder than on water.
Oh right,
In a
the
boat,
splashing.
and you got your dog. Here, Buck. Here. Fucking Buck don't know what here is.
Right. But yeah, I mean but public is you've got to have this community mentality, and most people don't have that anymore
No.
about anything. There's no sense of community. Nobody wants to take an L. Nobody wants to, just like the guy that pounded the snooze too many times. He should have some personal responsibility where he's just like, I fucked up. I'm going to go over here. I'm not going to bother anybody. And whatever happens, happens. But no, he's got to be a dickhead and sneak in there 10 minutes before shooting time and just blow the whole slough up. But
And thinks
it's a
nothing.
world and thinks nothing of it. And is like, whoa, what are you coming at me for? Why you want to kick my ass at the boat dock? I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, you did. You came in here and it was too late. Ducks are already flying. You're yelling at your dog. You're setting shit up. It's too late.
You have zero respect for the people around you. And a lot of that is just the way people are raised.
They're raised like assholes.
They are, It's the same guy who, well, I shouldn't say that. I've been kicked out of Little League games. But it's the same dad that has no respect for any of the situations and don't think about it. Changing the subject real quick. Do you see where they're having a huge shortage worldwide of umpires and referees?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, who wants to get their ass chewed out by parents all the time?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Look at that. Like, you wonder why. Why are we having a teacher shortage? They don't get paid enough, and they get yelled at by parents that think that little Johnny does nothing wrong. Same with being a ref. You make $50 a night
I don't
at a high
know.
school football game?
Surely more than that.
You think so?
They pay a mileage too.
That might be where you make your money, especially when gas is $4 a gallon.
And then every guy gets paid for it, and then they share a ride.
Right.
And then they split up their or each guy gives him $5 for a gas or something. But like in West Texas, we're having I've noticed there's been a lot of Thursday games because of ref shortages.
Yes.
And it used to be, and it still is, if you go to 6A football, which would be the South Lake Carrolls, the big schools in Texas, Allen, those schools are going to have better officials than 6-man football is. It seems like the smaller the area, the worse the officiating is. The good officials get moved up to the top pretty fast. When I was in high school, the guys that called our games called Southwest Conference games.
Really?
Yeah, because I heard Joe Bob ask a guy one time, he said, what are you calling tomorrow? He said, I'm calling Texas and Texas A&M or something. I was like, God almighty. But that was the officials that we had, but we had 5A football, which was the biggest in the state.
$100 to $185 per varsity game.
You could not.
And most of the time, they'll do, no. Most of the time, JV's the night before. I bet it's they say where you make your money is the basketball. 'Cause there's so
Volleyball.
many games.
Volleyball.
Oh, really?
That's supposed to be the best one. But just like basketball, though, you can call 4 games in a night.
Right.
And if you're getting $75 a game, you make $300 a night.
Right. So 100 or $200. Say, okay, 150.
I would much
Right
rather.
in the middle.
I would much rather ref a football game.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Than do
than a basketball
basketball.
game. Everybody's on top of you.
Oh, and everybody's always pissed off. Everything's a foul. Every play, there's a foul or walking.
There's always a holding in football.
There is, but some of them are not as seen as much.
Right.
But every time someone's got the ball, everybody's eyes are on that ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you go to a football game and your son's the center, you watch him block every play. If your
Right.
son's a guard, you watch him. If he's a tight end, you watch him. If your son's a quarterback, like what ours was, we always, every time you threw an interception, it was having to list everybody around us. But that happens. But at a basketball game, only people watch is the guy with the ball. You don't watch nothing else.
The great white deer hunter, Blake, just texted me.
Mm-hmm. He fucked up again.
Again. So yesterday, Blake, God love him, he wants to be a deer hunter so bad.
Well, he wasn't built for it.
He's in his tree.
He's in a tree, right?
He's in his tree.
Maybe that was him in South Carolina.
He's in his tree. Yeah, maybe. He's in his tree stand, and a deer comes up, 30 yards, broadside, perfect, and he didn't shoot at it because he didn't want to spook it. And that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me to begin with. But I asked him, I'm like, what the fuck you mean spook it? Like, kill it and it doesn't matter. But evidently it was behind him. He'd have to turn and make an awkward shot. Then he gets, so that was yesterday morning. He gets up into the stand yesterday afternoon and realizes something on his bow has broken off. So he's like, I can't shoot a deer even if it comes in, so I might as well climb my fat ass down, go to Shields, buy what I need. He texts me, well, my day got worse after you called me yesterday. I said, how's that? He said, I didn't know I left my gear bag on the back of my pickup. Drove off with it on the tonneau cover, and I don't know where it is.
I only laugh because
That's Blake.
he's lost a lot of my shit over the years.
I mean, that's Blake. I don't know what gear he's referring to. I don't know if there's a bow bag that is
that's what he meant by gear. Yes, I'm
somehow
sure.
misplaced, or if it's his shit with his binoculars and spotting scopes and rangefinders. I don't know how much gear he's lost, but
He's obviously lost some gear.
he's backtracking. Surely by now somebody's picked that up.
Yeah, I'm not giving it back to him.
No, there's no way. God, no. So now he goes from having to buy a piece of a bow
To basically all kinds of shit.
to potentially a whole new bow if he lost everything. I don't know how much he lost, but
This is where he comes in
This
my
is Blake.
office and kicks back and sits there, and I go, Blake, Jeff, don't ask. It's been a long day.
you can tell by the way he walks.
Yeah,
It's
it's a frustrated day.
Something has gone wrong. Oh,
Okay, back to public hunting.
have a checklist whenever you're hunting in general, public or private. Have a checklist. Blake doesn't have a checklist. He forgets his bibs in Nebraska every year. Learn from Blake. Have a checklist. If you are a guy that does not hunt every day, maybe make a checklist at the beginning of the season. Just so that you have all of your stuff that you need to. Because, for us, it becomes second nature. I need blinds. I need this many decoys. Everything is very, very organized on our end. So it's very easy to, okay, I've got this many Canada silhouettes. I've got this many specs, this many snows, this many socks. So have an organization system. This is for any hunter, not just for public hunters, any hunter. Have an organization system. If you don't hunt all the time, stay organized. That way, you're not missing stuff whenever you get to the blind. There's nothing worse than getting to the blind and being like, ooh,
Yeah, I've had them calls many mornings from you guys.
I forgot the spinners, or I forgot the hedge trimmer, or hedge trimmer doesn't have gas. So,
And every guide forgets something.
100%.
I mean, it happens. Andy forgets stuff.
Yes.
Yoder forgets something. From the top to the bottom, everywhere in between, everybody has forgotten something sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And we're a team. And I stress this all the time out here because there is times. Last year, Stoner went and jerry-rigged a blind for us that somebody had forgot a piece out of.
Yeah, because we keep I can't remember.
You wrap it up in the tortilla, y'all call it.
We wrap it up, but we keep the end pieces together on the Lucky Duck to save time because in the dark, when you get a bunch of guys that don't know what they're doing, all the pieces basically look the same. So what we've ended up doing is we keep the end pieces and the middle piece that makes the A. We keep it all intact, and then we just basically roll up the crossbars of the Lucky Duck 2x4. So drag a blind out, all the end pieces and middle pieces go together, and then we just set it up from there. Saves time. So if we're shuffling blinds back and forth, there have been times where people forgot to grab end pieces when they should have. So I think that might have been what Stoner jerry rigged, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean it happens. The first couple of weeks really is really bad for me because you think you have everything, you kind of plan it out, and then you get out there and you're like, oh no, I forgot. something. Or if I go from goose hunting to crane hunting, there's always loops there. If I hunt water 3 times a year. Oh, shit. Forgot this. And I can't even tell you what this is right now.
I want my guys to call me at 5 o'clock in the morning or 5:30. As soon as they pull up to the field, they realize they forgot something.
Right.
Don't wait till 15 minutes before shooting time.
No.
My ass will get out of bed. I may not like it, but I will get out of bed and be on the road in 5 minutes. It don't take me long to brush my teeth, throw on some fucking bibs and go, and be at the truck, go to the lodge, pick shit up, and be on the road back to you. So way before shooting time. I'd much rather do that than you call me 15 minutes before and you need something. That's a little, that has nothing to do with this. That's just a little pet peeve of mine. Another thing.
Well, I mean, it just goes back to like the guy that shows up at 6:15 to hunt public. Like, when you're duck hunting, in my experience, the best hunting is
the
30 minutes before sunrise that
Yep.
you can shoot. And I know a lot of states don't let it, but you got about an hour and a half window when you're duck hunting, at least here. If you're hunting water, the first part's probably going to be the best part. So if you realize that you forgot something and you wait to call somebody, well, like now all of a sudden we're having to fix shit when ducks are trying to come in.
Our biggest problem that we have is buckets. Now we use Stanfield stools, so it won't be a bigger problem.
Right.
Guys, somebody will forget stools, but somebody will forget a bucket, or we're 3 buckets short. Someone took something off my trailer. That's the biggest excuse up here all the time. Somebody else
took it.
I don't know who somebody is, but that fucker's caused more problems up here. He's like Chaos on that State Farm commercial or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we don't want the customers to know we weren't prepared.
Right.
This is more of an outfitter deal. If you got some people on a hunt and something's fucked up, try to act like it's not. You don't ever want your customers to think that you're unprepared.
Right.
Pull up with it. Hey, I got these new buckets for you guys. Blah 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 blah. Do some shit like that.
Right.
And deep down inside, they're telling their buddies, "Them fuckers got 3 buckets.
Well,
Some bitch, not new buckets."
Maybe we did, maybe we didn't, but
Yep.
you'll never hear it from us.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you always want to be, don't let them see the chaos.
My biggest pet peeve, and Trevor Shanahan disagreed with this because a guy put this down there. If you take someone to hunt at your place and you're kind enough to invite someone along, don't be a douchebag and go back to that place on your own.
What side was Trevor on?
Trevor thinks that shouldn't be. He thinks it's a stupid unwritten rule.
I do too.
I don't.
I do.
So you and Trevor are against 98% of everybody else in the waterfowl industry.
It's usually
If you take someone hunting and you're nice enough to invite Joe Bob to come to your secret
public
hunting
hunting,
hole,
public hunting,
public hunting, I don't care who it is.
how do you know that this is a well-kept secret when any 16-year-old with a John boat can find it?
You do not go back and hunt on your own at that place. That's not right.
What?
If someone invites you to a place and they say, "Hey, I'm going to go to Lake Arrowhead," which is I grew up hunting on around Wichita Falls, and I'm going to go to Shoshone Park, and I'm going to go back in, and there's a flat on a wet year there, and we used to hunt there a lot as a kid growing up. And now things are different now than what it was when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go back. We'll take this to public land, private land. If someone
I agree with you on private
Uncle
land.
John's got a place that he lets anybody hunt on, and you've got a secret place you go to on his place, and you take somebody, and then you go back there, and he's talking to Uncle John about hunting it, you're a sorry fucker. You are. I'm telling you right now, you're nothing sorry in the world than getting invited to go hunting on somebody's place and you trying to break them. I'm not talking about outfitter to outfitter because that's a business situation. I'm talking about if someone that's just hunting has a place they can hunt that's private or public and they take you there to hunt as a friend, you don't go behind their back and try to hunt and bring somebody else to that place or hunt on your own. That's bullshit. That's the way I feel. I think you are breaking a man code there.
Can you ask them if it is okay if I go there?
Yeah, and if they say no, then don't do it.
Well, they're going to say no.
Well, they should. But some
Better
people,
to ask permission than
some people don't have
forgiveness.
balls, though.
Or better to ask forgiveness
Yeah.
than permission.
It's kind of like dating sisters.
Uh-huh.
Okay, there's nothing wrong with dating sisters or best friends.
Uh-huh.
That's between them, not you.
Right.
If you date some girl and it don't work out with her and she's got a hot best friend, ask her, bitch, ask her out.
I mean, but this bro code, should you date your buddy's ex-girlfriend?
That's between you and him.
Okay.
I'm talking about sisters, though.
Okay. I understand you're talking about
I'm
sisters.
playing as the girl's end on the boys' deal.
Okay.
I'm talking about if you date a girl and it don't work out, she's fucking crazy, but she's got a smoking hot friend.
Right.
And you want to ask her out, ask her out.
Right.
You know, if she thinks it's sorry, she'll tell you no.
Girl code.
If she goes out with you, then that's between them two for being pissed off. Same with sisters.
Mm-hmm.
You should always date sisters if you can. You did.
I did.
Yeah. And you married one. Is the other one mad at you still?
I don't. if she is, it's her problem.
You really didn't want to talk about that.
Is it my turn?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I agree with Trevor Shanahan on this. It is a silly rule, and I'll tell you why.
I can't wait to hear
because
this.
there is this nifty little invention, and it sits right here on your cell phone. It is called a map. So I can look at any body of water and be like, you know what? That little cove right there might hold a lot of ducks.
But why hadn't you been there before then?
Well, what if I just got into hunting?
So you're telling me that if Blake invited you to Nebraska to come hunt on a public place that he knew on the river that they could get into to hunt, you think it would be okay to go up there by yourself and hunt without him?
No, but Blake is one of my closest friends.
Well, if someone's nice enough to take you to their place, you should have the same respect for them.
But if it's just like this acquaintance that I've hunted with a couple of times, then
This ain't the guy that works at 7-Eleven you just happen to go in and buy
Blake wouldn't
strudel
care.
from.
Blake wouldn't care.
You would ask him.
I'd be like, Blake, I want to take Reese out. Can we go hunt that spot?
Oh, going to use the kid as an excuse. But
That's
Blake,
how you get onto anything. And Blake would say, of course, go have fun.
because y'all are friends, and he
Right.
wouldn't care if you went. But
100%.
if you said, "Hey, I'm going to take Mikey with me," what would Blake say?
I don't know. I don't know what he would say.
But that you don't do that.
I think it's a silly rule. I'm with Shanahan. It's a public place. Anybody can get there. I mean, what if it's this place that everybody goes to?
What if it's a place back in the woods that nobody goes to? You got to hike 5 miles in, and that's why it's so good because nobody knows
Right.
about it.
I mean,
And you've never been there before, and this guy says, "Hey, I've got," and you say, "How do you shoot these greenheads all the time?"
let me show you.
I got a place that I go all the time.
You shouldn't be shocked.
Hold on.
You should not be shocked.
No,
if
you shouldn't.
If
'Cause
you
that's
take somebody back there, like you should not be shocked that they're hunting it.
No, you shouldn't, because that's the way people are shitty these days.
I think they've been like that all the time. I don't think this is a new phenomenon.
No, it's not. I had a guy do me this way about 30 years ago before I was in the hunting business, and I promise you, if I could have got that Ichabod Crane looking motherfucker out of a truck, he would have never done it again. I was fucking hot.
What magical place was
It was
this?
it was a private place.
Okay, well,
but
that's
the guy
different.
would hold on. But the guy would let anybody hunt on it.
He would let anybody.
Anybody that wouldn't ask this guy, he would let to hunt.
Did you tell your friend this?
Hold on, let me tell you the story. So a buddy of mine from Dallas had hunted with me a lot, and he says, "I got this guy at work all the time that duck hunts.
Right.
They're 4 hours away from me at this time."
Okay.
He said, "Do you mind if I bring him up on a hunt?" His name was John Dickhead. I can't remember his last name now. I just call him John Dickhead. So I said, "I don't care," but I said, "This is our place to hunt." He said, "No." He said he'd never be out
Hand me
here
that.
ever again.
Fly swatter. I'm
So-
gonna kill this.
I even qualified to make sure this guy wasn't ever going to come up. So I'm hunting,
Right.
and we go up there and we hunt. We take him on a hunt, and we have a good hunt.
And you said,
I told the guy that I'm friends with, I said, "I don't want him coming. Hell, he'll never come up here ever again." I said, "Well, if that's the case," because my dad had been burned before, and so I had this drilled in my head when I was little.
don't show people your spots.
Yep. So, anyways, this buddy of mine hunted with me all the time from Dallas. Dad
Okay.
trained his dog. He was a good guy. So he brings John Dickhead with him. Well, about 3 weeks later, I'm picking up. We're done. We shoot limited birds. We're getting out, and he comes driving up my truck with some guys in a Suburban. "Hey, Jeff, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm fucking doing pretty good." "Yeah, we were going to hunt here. I didn't know y'all were hunting here." "Yeah, we hunt here. This is my place to hunt." I go, "What the fuck are you doing up here anyways?"
So it was the friend of the friend.
Yes.
So he didn't know, Jeff.
Oh, he did fucking know. Because I told the guy, and he told him, you can't tell nobody. "Oh, I'd never do that shit."
Oh.
So I saw him about a month later in Seymour at the Rocky Inn Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a comment. I walked by, "Hey, Jeff." I go, "There's that sorry motherfucker that you take hunting." He takes his other friends there. I go, "Fuck him." And walk right by and sit down.
I get your
And
outrage.
I meant it. I'm telling you right now, I made a conscious decision to not slap him because I did not want to go to jail. I'd never been in jail, and I did not want to start in Baylor County. But I was that pissed. And I'm pissed now thinking about the sorry Google-eyed motherfucker right now. But it makes me mad. Because it was a sorry fucking deal. And that right there is why I got in the hunting business right there. That was one of the main reasons I got in the hunting business.
Tired of dealing with it.
No, that snowballed into another place to hunt, and that's how I got in the hunting business. It just kind of, it worked out best. So I guess that goggle-eyed fucker, best thing ever happened to me. But I was hot.
I understand both sides. I understand your outrage. You worked hard. You found this nice piece of property. You made all the right connections, and you were there first. So I get your outrage when you see this pickup that you were like, I told you not to come back here.
No, I didn't say it like that.
I understand, but I'm just trying to get to the gist of it. I told you agreed that you were not going to come back here.
I was mad at myself for ever taking the fucker out there, and I should never done it because I
understand.
I had taken 10 to 15 other guys with me that I was friends with,
right?
And none of them ever would do that to me,
right.
And I wouldn't do that to them. And I still to this day, I even talk to other outfitters I'm friends with, and they'll hunt a place and I'll know about it. And I am really good about letting them. I'll call them to see if I can hunt it before I go call the farmer. You see me do that a bunch of times
on day leases.
Yes, but just because it's the way. And they do me the same way. They'll call me.
Right.
Justin and me do this all the time. Mm-hmm. Rustin is really good about this too. If I've got a place in Oklahoma he needs to hunt, he'll call me instead of asking the guy, and he could probably get on the same place a lot of times. But we work together and we trust each other.
That's good.
And that's hard to
business is what that is.
That is. But it's just being a good person.
But you're going to have a hard time convincing me that this place that anybody can get to, anybody that's got the proper mechanisms of getting out there, anybody that can look at Google Earth and say, yeah, it looks like a place that a duck would hang out. You're just going to have a hard time convincing me that on this magical place that only you know about, which is probably not true. What if it's just like a hot blind on a piece of public? Like, what if it's just the place that you want to get to? Like, if you've got like a draw system,
then you should have fucking found it before.
No.
Don't piggyback off your guy that was nice enough to include you on his good hunts.
What if it's this draw system?
Well, the draw system's different. It's a draw.
And then you've got this magical blind.
You got to draw. That's the chances. That's fate. That's different.
No.
If JoJo takes you to Lake Oshkobonoshki, if there's even a Lake Oshkobonoshki, and he's got a point that he hunts all the time, and you've hunted, and you never kill birds, but hey, come with me. This is my place to hunt. I hunt here, and he goes and hunts, and then the next Saturday he goes up there, and you're sitting there with 3 other dick fucks sitting there. That's bullshit.
But it all ties in. If somebody takes you to their spot that they drew the year before, and now all of a sudden, like, is that just their spot all the time now?
It's a draw. That's not their spot. It's a draw.
But can you take your buddies there now? Like, they were nice enough to take you to their blind.
You talking about a public place without a draw, or just a draw spot?
A public place with a draw.
With a draw is different, because then you're on the fate of the system.
But then you own it, and you're just like, I'm not taking my buddy.
It's like talking to your mom right here. There's a draw.
I understand
that's different. You can't go there unless you draw. We're talking a public place that's no draw. That's bullshit.
I don't think so.
I do.
I think that it's just one of those things that sucks to.
Are we talking?
You got to trust your buddies.
Legally, or are we talking morally and principles? Because it's two different things. Legally, you're not breaking a rule. That's out here.
Your microphone again, resting on your. You got to push it.
Oh God dang it! We're talking.
Well, I know. We're talking morally.
Morally, you're a fuck stick. I'm telling you right now, you are. Legally, you're as legal as you can be.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong. You're not breaking the law. So if you call the game warden out there, you know what the game warden's going to say. Well, he's not breaking the law. He's a no good sorry motherfucker. but you're not breaking the law. That part is the difference.
But if you have, so what should you do? Like this
you
place,
shouldn't do it.
Can you call your buddy? Be like, hey, can I go out there?
Yes. And if he says that's
it's his
fine,
spot, it's his. He's the end all be all for this spot that's on public land.
Yes. He took you, invited you out there, and was nice enough. You should ask him.
What if you just got into hunting and you've got a bunch of friends that hunt? Now all of a sudden you can't go to like 6 different places because they might have taken you there.
Don't be a douchebag, and they'll invite you to hunt all the time. You got 6 friends to choose from, right? You said 6 friends.
How long do you have to hunt there before it becomes your spot? What if you and your buddy are going there?
Oh, this is a gray area now. When they get in a big fight and they don't fight to get along anymore.
Right.
Well, that's a different.
I mean,
deal.
you've been hunting together since you were teenagers.
Then it's first come, first serve, I guess.
You think so?
Yep.
And then it branches off because you've been hunting this place with your buddy and y'all maybe found it together, or maybe he found it first, but you've been hunting for forever. And then all of a sudden it all breaks up, and even though you've been hunting together and they know about it and you've taken hundreds of people to this magical place, like, there's gray areas in life.
There are.
And I can understand if you took somebody there one time and it was a one-time deal, and then now all of a sudden they're hunting it. But I mean, if you've taken somebody there, what's the number? Let's just throw that out there. How many times do you have to hunt there with your buddy before you have a right to be like, I go there, I know where it is? Is it a season?
It's his place. If
Indefinitely.
If you had nowhere to hunt, and this guy sees this dumb fucker that he works with in the office, and he's like, damn, that poor fucker, he don't ever kill no birds. He goes out all the time. Yeah, I think he's going to switch teams now and become homosexual. Gosh, I'm worried about him. We got to man him up a little bit. I'm going to take him hunting. So you take him out on a hunt, and y'all kill a bunch of birds. He should not go back to that place without you with him. That is nice of you to take him.
For how long?
I don't know.
What if you hunt with this guy?
17 years.
Wow. I say...
You'd say the next day, you're a sorry bastard. You're not a very good friend.
No.
Yeah.
I'm good friends to the friends I'm with. And I have a very small circle.
I know you well enough. I know you well enough.
I would call.
You would not go back there without Hib's blessing because you would
No,
bother. It would bother you because you have good principles.
Right, I do.
Okay.
But
So why are you taking it for the fucker that ain't got no principles?
because it's a fun thing to do.
I really don't
think
that you think any different than I do. I think you're just being the devil's advocate on here. So for everybody out there, I want to apologize for Andy being a dick right now. He was raised better than this.
You know, I had somebody, and this is a little behind the scenes, but somebody was like, they don't like me. I'm always I'm the token Democrat on the show. I'm the asshole, basically.
Huh?
Yeah, but somebody messaged. I was too liberal for him. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
You're too liberal?
Yeah. But a lot of the times, whenever
This real life or just podcast life?
that's what I'm getting at.
Okay.
A lot of the times, like, how interesting would this show be if a point got brought up and I was like, yeah, you're right.
No, it wouldn't be. The banner back and forth
That
is
would
what
be
makes it
it.
interesting.
So a lot of times I have to kind of think outside the box on, okay, how can I attack this argument and have it make sense? And sometimes I fail. But I mean, on this, it's a gray area. I think if you go with somebody more than a year, it's open to you. It's open.
Okay.
You've hunted it every weekend with this guy, or
Skip.
6 times. Let's say you hunted it 6 times with this guy 1 year.
Skip Bayless, let me break in here real quick.
You've hunted it 6 times with this fella for 1 year. It's yours next year. Like, if you're there first, fuck, I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel.
Okay, Skip.
There's no secrets anymore.
No, I agree with you. But
There's no secrets, so don't be pissy.
If someone takes you their spot, we're going to disagree on this one. We ain't going to change because we can talk for hours and we're not going to get nowhere.
Disagree.
We're going to, because I think you're sorry if you do that to somebody. I really do. I think
After one time, I would be more inclined to agree with you. But if you're a buddy and you keep hunting the same place over and over again with your friend, and then he brings other friends in and you bring some buddies, then the water gets very, very murky very, very fast.
Yep. That's one of my big things right there is if you take someone hunting, if someone takes you hunting, be respectful of them, that they took you, they were nice enough to take you to their place to hunt, and respect them.
Now,
and there is no timeline.
Okay,
There's
hold
nothing
on.
to do.
Here's another little wrinkle.
Okay.
What if your buddy has the spot, but you've got the gear? Whose is it now?
It's your place.
If your buddy's like, hey,
But
listen,
I've been there before,
I've seen the birds there. I've never hunted them personally. I know you duck hunt. Like, here's a spot that's got a lot of ducks. Let's go. Let's get after them. You're good on a duck call. You've got the spinners and the shit that we're gonna need. What then?
I've been down that road before. I've had guys that have done that to me. They'll be like, hey, I've got a pond on a farm. A long time ago, I had a buddy of mine whose dad had a deer lease, and they had a bunch of ducks on it. And so we would go down there and go hunting sometime. We'd take my equipment to his place. Well, I never went back. It was a deer lease, though. But I never would have thought of going back without him.
Let's just say it's public. Let's say that you got a fisherman that works in your office, and he's like, hey, I fish a lot, and I see where the ducks are. I've always wanted to duck hunt. There's a slough that nobody goes to, nobody knows about. We can get back there. You're a big duck hunter. I've got a boat. That's where we need to go. And then this guy, like, is at his spot forever because he told you
He
about
don't have
this?
no duck hunting gear. What's going to be back there fishing
He's
while you're duck
he's
hunting?
gonna fucking get into it.
Well, that's a tough deal, too.
I mean, I'm telling you, there's too many gray areas. One time, I understand. You took somebody out there, you trusted them, they betrayed you. That sucks. But if this is a repeat behavior and you keep bringing this person back to this spot, at some point, they're going to feel entitled to be able to hunt it.
I got to pee.
That's how I feel. All right, we'll pause. I probably better too. Too much Perrier. No, Pellegrino, not Perrier. All right, and we're back.
Okay.
So do you just want to table this this douchebag discussion, or
No,
we're just
probably-
going to agree to disagree?
We're going to agree to disagree on this thing.
Here's one thing that I noticed, and we were going to take callers, and then then it got half of the responses were just dumb, and a lot of the stuff was kind of common sense. So I didn't feel like we needed callers to be like, oh, you should pick up your trash when you hunt public land. Like, yeah, you should. You should be a responsible steward of the earth. You should just be a responsible person. If you've got holes everywhere and Twinkie wrappers and just all this shit scattered about, public or private, you should pick up after yourself.
This also applies to 4th of July shooting fireworks in the country.
Yeah, just be a good human being and don't leave your mess for somebody else to tend to. It takes 5 minutes. There's a fucking magnetic stick that will pick up all of your holes for you. You don't even have to bend over anymore if you don't want to. You stick it in the ground and the holes just attract to it. Buy that. It's $20. Like it's not much. And we deal with it dove hunting.
Mm-hmm.
People come out here and then we tell everybody, pick up any trash that you have, whether it be water bottles or shotgun shells. Anything that you leave behind, you need to take with you. Anything you brought in here, you need to take back out with you. It needs to look like it did when you got here. Every year we get a phone call from a farmer. Hey, I got shotgun holes everywhere, or I got water bottles, or whatever it is. But just be a good person and leave things the way that you find it. If you're hunting private and there's a gate closed, close the gate when you leave. Close it when you go in, close it when you leave.
Try to leave a place better than you found it.
If it's open, and we've been through this before, it's open for a reason.
Yes.
So don't be like, oh, let me close it, because there's times where cows go in and out, and now all of a sudden you lock the cows out. And that pisses farmers and ranchers off too. So however we find something is how we try to leave it.
I had a farmer out here call and bitch me one time because we closed the gate.
That's what I'm saying.
He's like, God damn, it's cold. I don't want to get out and have to open that gate and close it all the time. He said, leave that son of a bitch open, Jeff. I said, I'll tell my guys. They didn't know.
Right.
I said, and it was one guy who worked for
they
me.
thought they were being good people by
they-
closing the gate.
The kid told me, he said, I'm sorry. He said, I thought that was meant to be closed and someone left it open and I didn't want us to get in trouble. I would much rather you close a gate than to leave it open on accident. But I also am a lazy guy like that farmer was. And he's like,
cold. I don't want to get out and open that shit. Not if I don't have to.
His exact words were, Jeff, my wife doesn't ride with me every morning, so I have to get out and get the gate. So by God, leave that some bitch open. I said, okay.
But pick up after yourself. Leave things like you find it. It's not that difficult. This goes for public, private, 4th of July, bleachers at a football field, basketball arena, whatever.
Your yard.
Take your shit with you. Movie theater. Yeah, definitely get shit out of your yard.
I don't understand people that have trashy places. It just wears me out. Parking in your yard and not picking up in your yard wear me out.
You came from Ron Stanfield.
That's hard to believe because my dad did not believe in picking up shit hardly. I do. I can't stand driving. I cannot stand people parking in the deal.
Thank God he wasn't a litter bug. He'd have had shit just thrown everywhere.
And what's funny is I've got a neighbor that parks in her yard all the time, and it would do her some good to take them extra 7 steps every day.
Right.
I wanted to say that to her too. Let's talk about outfitting. What you should expect from an outfitter, because I have people all the time. I get a lot of questions from people that are hunting with another outfitter in the last week questions. And first of all, I'm not ever going to rip on another outfitter. It ain't happening. Even the dickhead that's selling Mexico turkey hunts right now. I'm not ripping on nobody that hunts anywhere else. I mean, if you're an outfitter, good for you. I'm not going to say nothing bad about you.
Dickhead that sells Mexico turkey hunts.
You didn't see it on our podcast page yesterday?
No.
The Snow Goose Guide is trying to get people to go to Mexico to shoot turkey hunts now.
Oh.
Old Mexico.
Be careful.
Yeah. So anyways, here's the thing. When you go on a hunt with an outfitter, you should expect what you paid for. If you're paying for an unguided duck hunt, you should expect to go hunt a place where there's an opportunity to shoot a duck.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. If they're selling you an unguided duck hunt, if you bought a guided duck hunt, you should expect someone to be with you to have the equipment, to have a blind, or have a place you can hide, and an opportunity to shoot ducks. You didn't buy a guaranteed shoot a limit.
No.
I don't care where you are. If that's what you're looking for, you do not need to be buying guided hunts unless you're doing canned pheasant hunts or something. You cannot expect to kill a limit of birds every day wherever you hunt at.
No.
I'm sorry. It's just the way it is if you hunt all the time. Now, if you're one of these Silver Spoon kids and your family's got 10,000 acres and y'all hunt it 3 times a week and you've got land you shred for stuff and things like that, you're having a little more advantage than the average guy is. You're still not going to shoot a limit every day. I don't care where you're at, what you're doing. That's just the way it goes. So don't expect too much on a guided hunt when it comes to shooting a limit every day. All you're doing is increasing your chances. You should expect them to give you a good meal. You should expect them to give you
if they offer lodging.
If lodging and meals are included, you should expect a clean room, and you should expect a good meal. You can go hunt at a place that charges $3,000 a day and have a 5-star lodge and have a chef cater to you and cook you a Wagyu beef every day.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come to my place, you should expect a home cooked meal, a clean room. You're going to share a room with other guys, bunk rooms. Your group's going to have its own room, a clean bathroom, clean facilities. So think about what you're buying a lot of times. I get questions all the time. It's just so far out there on things. You know, expect what you're paying for. You know, if you're paying $400 a day to goose hunt and you're paying $3,000 a day, you should expect a little bit difference because there's going to be a difference in what you're paying. And most of that's going to come down to lodging, not hunting.
That's exactly right. Just because you pay more does not necessarily mean that the hunting is going to be any better.
No.
Your accommodations will probably be better. You might have a private room, private bath, steak dinner delivered to your table, and maybe a bottle of wine or something like that.
Yes.
The amount you pay does not indicate how many more birds you're going to kill.
That's exactly right.
All it indicates is that the facilities and the accommodations are going to be better. Maybe you don't have to drive to the field or something. I don't know. But just because you pay $3,000 to go on a duck hunt does not mean that you're going to shoot a limit of greenheads before 8 o'clock.
Now, I know a guy in the Midwest that's got a shitty lodge, and he kills a lot of birds.
Right.
He doesn't charge very much.
Right.
But his hunting is as good as you're going to find anywhere else.
Sure.
But you're staying very meager accommodations.
Right.
But
that's the difference. But if he had a 5-star lodge and
he'd be charging
prime rib every night,
$5,000 for a 3-day hunt.
Right.
It's a different world.
And just because you don't pay much doesn't mean that you shouldn't expect what we just outlined. A good place to hunt. Like if you pay $100 for a morning duck hunt or whatever, you should still expect
the opportunity to kill some birds,
a guide with equipment and what you're going to need to kill birds. And you might bang them up for $100.
That's right.
You might go out there and the guy might be a total shit show.
Yep. Do some research on who you're hunting with. If you're following some kid on Instagram that's been in the hunting business for 3 months and he's got a bunch of dead pictures, a bunch of pictures, and it's only been guiding 1 year, take that into account a little bit on really how many of them pictures are his probably.
Right.
Because a lot of times you're getting force-fed stuff that's really not the reality of what you're fixing to deal with. Make sure get some. If you've never booked a guided hunt in your life, and I've got lots of guys that come on their first hunt here because they listen to the podcast. Get some references on people and find out. I mean, we've been doing a podcast for 5 years almost now. You can keep up. It's pretty easy to see we've been in the hunting business a long time.
Right.
But a lot of guys haven't. Do some references and check on them and find out what's going on. Talk to some guys that hunted with them last year. And don't expect to talk. If you talk to the guy and he said, "Oh, shoot a limit every time we're out there," try to talk to someone else.
Right.
Talk to the guy that's been on a bad hunt with people. Hey, yeah, I went on a bad hunt. They worked their ass off for me. It was just hunting because it happens.
And that's another thing. If you are going on a guided hunt, look at the weather and start looking at the weather about 2 weeks before your hunt, because that's going to tell you what you need to know. If you're seeing 80 degrees and full moon and, this is the stuff that you're going to deal with, then there's a good chance that things might not work out into your favor. And as long as the outfitter in question and the guide in question has fulfilled their end of the bargain, be it you had a place to hunt, you saw birds, you had the proper equipment, and if you're lodging, it's nice and you get your meal, you get your 3 meals a day, it's hunting at the end of the day.
Yes, and
nobody wants to fail any less than the person that's taking your money.
That's right.
We want to succeed every single day that we go out there. We know that that's not going to happen. We hunt too much, and it's part of it. Bad hunts are going to happen, but the goal is the same. And when I leave the driveway at 5 o'clock every single morning, my goal is to put on the best possible hunt that I can. Now, that doesn't always mean killing a limit of birds. That means I work hard, I'm personable, and when things go bad, make adjustments and try to explain to the guys, what we're facing.
Yeah. People do not give themselves. A lot of outfitters really screw that up because they're like, oh, yeah, we should limit every day. And you get there, they ain't shot a limit all year long.
Right.
But they tell you that to get you all excited.
Sure.
Be real with people.
Mm-hmm.
You come into my office, I tell you up front, the hunting's really tough right now, or it's been really good. And if it's really good, I tell them, yeah, it's been really good for the last 10 days and we've just wore them out. But we ain't got no wind tomorrow.
Right.
We got a full moon. It could be tough. And there's days I've told guys we ought to do really well tomorrow. We have everything, and it fucking backfires on you, and it doesn't, and you look like a real dumbass.
Manage expectations.
Yes. Think about, I'm trying to think how to word this in a nice way. Look around at the people that you're hunting with. If you're going out and you're meeting a guy and he smells like booze at 4:00 in the morning and he's slurry-eyed and red-eyed and stuff, and that's probably what you're going to be dealing with the whole time.
Yeah.
If you meet someone and they're an outfitter and they're professional at what they do, and I know more guys that are professional guys that do a good job than I do the latter, the drunk guy and stuff, because they don't last very long.
Yeah, they get weeded out pretty quick.
But if you go someplace and you've got a guide, and if he's 50 years old or he's 20 years old, and he's yes sir, no sir, and he's polite and he's coherent in the morning and he's can tell you about things, be appreciative of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of there's a lot of guys that are having different experiences than you are. But don't be afraid to ask questions when you call them book a trip. Ask about that. We had a good dove season this year, a really good dove season. I think seriously, we were right at 90% have rebooked for next year. Well, we had some weekends were really, really, really good, and we had some slower weekends. But the things that we could provide for them, we do a really good job of providing, and I think that makes a lot up. So if you're an outfitter and you're getting in the business out there, try to go above and beyond on the little things you can control, because the things you can't control or you can't do nothing about anyways.
That's how you should judge a successful trip. Were the things that were in their court, were the things that the outfitter, the things they could control, were they taken care of? And if they were, then you got what you paid for.
Yes.
If everything, if everything that was in that person's control, if that was all handled, you got what you paid for, regardless of how your hunt went. Because winds change, weather changes, birds change at a moment's notice. That's all out of our control.
Yep, the things we can control is what you need to focus on, the things that the outfitter can control.
That should be 80% of how you judge your experience. I understand bad hunts happen.
Right.
And it's a bummer. But that makes up 20% of your experience.
Yep. Now, as an outfitter, what do we expect from our clientele? I expect a sober client. That's my biggest thing I do not want to deal with is a drunk. I don't like to drill with a drunk in real life. I don't want to do it at work. I mean, that's me. I don't want to be around a drunk anywhere I go. I don't want to. If I go to a bar and restaurant and have dinner and stuff, and I got some drunk behind me, I do not enjoy that at all.
No,
I do not like drunks at all. I would rather be around a crackhead than a drunk almost. So, I want someone that's halfway sober. I don't mind a guy having drinks at night and stuff, but
You're talking about in the morning.
Yeah, in the morning, I'm not putting up with anybody drinking.
But
None.
are you talking about it at the lodge?
Even around the lodge at night, be respectful if you drink a lot.
Well,
That's one of my biggest issues I have.
they are on vacation.
But you can act accordingly. Don't become a hindrance to anybody else. If you're in your group and you get real drunk, we had a guy who got real drunk last year. He was with his group. He didn't bother nobody because his group kept up with him.
Right.
Don't be a pain to other people because you drink too much. Is this making me sound like an old fart now?
A little bit. I can see it like in the dining hall and that's something that I just kind of, I mean, if you're in the, but like if you're just out around the campfire and you got drunk and
I don't mind you getting drunk.
Now don't be trying to start fighting.
Don't be belligerent.
Yeah.
I don't care if you have too much to
What's your
drink.
definition of belligerent? Like trying to pick fights and stuff?
Start shit and just being a loudmouth and a drunk.
What if you're just a loudmouth know-it-all? Not violent, not trying to poke anybody, but you're just the one-upper.
Well, eventually someone's going to catch up with your ass anyway.
So,
that'll catch up with you. Just don't be a drunk that causes problems for other groups.
Right.
Be a dick.
We had that before. Well,
we have had that before.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened
It was with
very
his
often.
own group.
Yes.
They kicked him out.
Yeah, and we've dealt with that a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be that. Don't go off and hunt and get so drunk that you're a hindrance to everybody in your group. I don't understand that. Don't be Scotty Goggles throwing beanbags on the roof,
Yeah, we're talking to you, Scott. We're talking to Scotty more than anybody.
But, if you want to drink and have a good time, do it. You're on vacation.
You're on vacation.
Got no problem with that.
Right.
Just don't be a problem to everyone else.
Because, really, you shouldn't go to Mexico and be belligerent
No,
at
it's
a resort.
stupid. That's exactly
or
right.
Anywhere. It doesn't even have to be just anywhere. You should not go to a football game. I'm on vacation. I'll have as many beers as I want to, and then pick a fight with the Giants fan that's sitting next to you.
Yeah, don't.
It's stupid.
Don't be that guy.
Have your faculties.
Be
on time.
As a client, yes, that's another thing. If we tell you breakfast is we're going to wake you up at 5 o'clock. When we wake you up at 5 o'clock, coffee and breakfast are ready.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spend an hour getting showered and press your freaking Orvis shirt to come over to have breakfast, and we're leaving at 6:15. And when we tell you we are leaving at 6:15, and this is for every client out there, for any outfitter, I don't care who you're hunting with. If they tell you we're leaving the lodge at 6:15, they don't mean 6:35. They mean 6:15, because all you're doing is you're costing everyone else in your group maybe the best 30 minutes of the morning hunting.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. And when you follow, if you're at a place like here, you get in your own vehicle and you follow us to the field. And if we're driving 65 miles an hour and the speed limit 65, at least drive 63. Don't drive 33. Keep up, because you can't straggle, because everything's on a time deal, and we try to give ourselves time to accommodate for all of this every morning. But nobody wants to leave the lodge an hour early because you drive like you're driving Miss Daisy.
Right.
Another thing is, and I got this question yesterday. A guy messaged me, and it was on our public deal on Facebook. What about how much do we tip? Somebody asked the other day. 15% is a normal tip, just like if you go to a restaurant. Mm-hmm. If you go to a restaurant and you take your family to eat dinner and it's $100 bill, you should leave $15 to $20. You should leave $120. Right. If you want to leave $30 or $40 and you want 20, 30 or 40% tip, that's your business. But if the lady at your waitress does a good job, you should give her a 15% tip minimum. Mm-hmm. And if people say, well, I don't tip at my job, no shit, you drive a bulldozer for work. They don't tip there. You get paid a wage. Their wages dependent. My guides work on tips. They get paid, but they also work on tips. That's a big part of the deal. Tip accordingly. If they bust their ass, and one of the biggest misconceptions is, well, if we shoot a limit of birds, we tip 30%. If we don't shoot a limit of birds, we shoot 15%. On a hunt that they don't shoot a limit, the guide works harder than he does on a trip they shoot the limit most times. Is that correct?
They should. Now, obviously there's times where, it's just no matter what you do doesn't work out.
But you're working hard.
Yeah. The days that we just go out and absolutely wear them out, anybody could be in that blind doing it. Now, there is some skill whenever things don't go according to plan, and then you have to adjust. And then when the adjustments are made, birds start working.
When you're on the X and things are right, you're done in 30 to 45 minutes.
It's yours to fuck up.
Yeah. But a guy that wants to tip you more for that than he does when you struggle till 11 o'clock to shoot a bird a piece or something, they don't realize that guy worked harder on that long hunt than he did on that short hunt.
I blew my call for 30 minutes versus 4 hours.
Right. The guy's busting his ass.
I changed the decoys. I put out the decoys one time, kind of half-assed, and they came in, versus I've moved every single decoy that we have. I've brushed the blind 4 more times than it needed to be. So yeah, the bad hunts are definitely where you're going to work 3 times as hard as you do on the easy hunts, because on the easy hunts anybody can do it.
In most lodges or outfitters, it's the experience, the whole package. Mm-hmm. So if you tip, you need to make sure you take care of the ladies, the guy cleaning birds or something. Because when you tip, like corporate guys, when corporate groups come here and they say, Jeff, we want to tip, we're going to tip for everybody. I split that up amongst everybody to make sure everybody gets a little chunk of the pie. That's the way it's supposed to be, But be thoughtful about that stuff. And here's one too. Please don't tip your guide with a bottle of whiskey or shotgun shells. It doesn't matter if you got an extra box of shells and you want to give it to him on top of his tip.
Yeah,
they appreciate that.
Don't make that the tip.
Yeah, but don't pull those Joe Walsh. What's the guy's name for the Eagles? Joe Walsh. Well, I'll give you an autograph for a free taxi ride. Told his cabbie that.
Oh, really?
You're worth millions of fucking dollars. Give the guy an autograph anyways and give him $100 bill. Right. Don't be a tight ass, And I have guys all the time. Well, I gave him a box of shells for a tip. Yeah, that's really what he wanted.
That bottle of bourbon, that was really it. Now, if you want to, like you said, if you want to if you want to tip a little bit of cash and a nice bottle of bourbon or whatever, yeah, 100%. But odds are, that it's not it. I would not be as if you're telling me you're gonna give me $500 or $100 bottle of bourbon, taking the cash.
Yes,
every time.
And
now, if this is something on top of what you're doing, then yeah, 100%. But and definitely don't tip me in shotgun shells.
No,
I got those coming out of my ears. Boss shot shells.
but
Go check them out.
But guys do that all the time, a lot, And but the guys that'll give them cash and give them shells, that's good. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
But just but that's what we expect. We expect you to be on time. We expect you to follow directions. And every outfitter's the same. I'm talking on behalf of every outfitter out there. If they tell you to put a life jacket on before we leave the boat and you're in a boat with them, put a life jacket on. He's telling you that for a reason.
Right.
I mean, that's why. If a guide tells you, or if an outfitter, if you call up an outfitter and he says, what's the hunting like? And he says, it's very, very slow. Let's move the hunt back 3 weeks or a month, or let's move it to next year. Take his advice. Trust me, I don't like losing money, and neither does any other outfitter. We get paid half the money up front when you book it. That's why we pay our bills all summer long, do all improvements, buy stuff, whatever we do, pay our bills. That's where that money comes from, is deposits. The second half of the money is where we make a living off of. We pay our staff with that money. We put money back and save it for summer, whatever we do. That's where that money comes from. Well, guess what? When we cancel a hunt or move you back in the other year, we're losing half of a hunt for this year, and we're losing a half deposit for next year.
Right.
So nobody cancels hunts and plans on, they're losing money on that. So if someone's willing to lose money to make sure you have a good time, please take that advice. I have guys every year we go through, I'll move a hunt from Oklahoma to Texas or Texas to Oklahoma. And every year I'll have a guy call me up and I'll say, listen, we're going to have to move your hunt from Oklahoma to Texas, or we can move it to next year. Well, we really want to hunt. Okay, we're going to hunt, but it's really going to be tough. That's fine. We just want to hunt. We're got blah, blah. Then you get up and hunt for 3 days, and then on 3 days of hunting, well, God dang, you're going to charge me the regular price. Well, fuck yeah, I did. I tried to tell you.
I told you, let's move this to next year, but you had to hunt this year. So don't expect a freebie or anything like that. Now, if the outfitter wants to be like, hey, listen, didn't work out, even though you did not heed my warnings, come back next year and we'll work it out. That's fine, but you shouldn't expect that.
No. Any outfitter that gives you
plenty of time
a hunt back after you've had a bad hunt is going above and beyond for you.
Right. Especially a bad hunt that you knew it was going to be a bad hunt.
Yes, that happens.
He tried to tell you, no, we need to move this to next year, and you're just like, well, I've already, the wheels are in motion, we're coming. Okay, we're going to hunt.
Yep.
But this is what we're faced with. You can't complain.
Nope. Another thing that I do, and I tell everybody this, and someone is going to listen to this and say, well, you didn't tell me that. Well, I meant to if I didn't.
Nope.
Do not buy your hunting license, an out-of-state license, to come here on a hunt until the day before you're coming up here. I have had numerous times appendicitis, heart attacks, grandma's got cancer, you got cancer, the weather, we have a blizzard, we have a hurricane, COVID, whatever the hell it is. Every year I deal with this situation with someone. And every year I say, remember when I told you not to buy your license until you were coming down? Yeah. Because that's the thing. Well, I already bought my license. It's $78 or whatever the hell it is for an out-of-state and your state endorsement and all that stuff. Don't buy it until the day you come down here. Yeah. You don't need to buy it in April. It don't do you any good because there's a lot of things can happen. What happens if something happens at work and you need to change your plans? What happens if we have a blizzard here and we can't hunt for 2 days? We're going to hunt if you get here because we're here. But if you can't get here, then we're not going to be able to hunt.
Right.
Don't buy your license. I don't care where you're going to hunt at. Don't buy the license until you either get there the night before or the day before buy it. Do not buy it before because there's all kinds of situations that can happen. And I will deal with this year. I guarantee you somebody that's coming on a hunt and something's going to happen and they're going to tell me that. Well, I already bought my license. Well, I'm not paying you back for your license.
Right.
I'm not the one that caused you to have an appendicitis or whatever.
You can buy it on your phone.
Yes.
You don't even have to stop at Walmart.
Yes.
Like just get it on your phone when you're boarding the plane or whatever, when you land or when you're for sure going. That's when you buy your license.
Have your stuff. On our waiver, when you sign into waterfowl hunt with us, it says this is what you need, and it's got a list of what you need. If you don't have a stamp or a license, tell us. We can get on the line and you can buy it right then. Don't come and say, well, I didn't know. Well, yeah, you do know. You signed a piece of paper that said it.
Plugs, all sorts of
Yes,
stuff.
plugs. Make sure you got to have your gun plugged. Can't shoot lead.
I mean, it's just common sense.
Yes. And if you're a new hunter,
Ask.
And ask questions. They don't mind. I got a guy called me yesterday. I got some dumb questions for you. I bet they're not.
They're
dumb.
not.
And they was good questions. I said, them were good
Be
questions.
better than you not knowing and getting out here and being like, oh shit, I'm not prepared.
He goes, well, I don't want to bother you. No, bother me. I don't mind. If you've got a question, call me or email me. Everybody or message me. Everybody knows how to get a hold of me. I will answer any questions you have about anything. If you have special needs, let the groups know. If you've got, here's one for us. If you're somebody and you're lactose intolerant, let us know. Don't let us know 5 minutes before we're fixing to serve food.
Right.
Now we're not going to make a special entree for you usually, but some nights we have Mexican food. If we do, we will have something else for you to have. If you've got kids that are picky eaters, we've got peanut butter and jelly. We've made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for kids a lot of times because they don't like steak or they don't like meatloaf or they don't like grilled chicken or whatever it is. Tell the people that you hunt with and let them know before.
Fuck those kids.
Especially that poor guy that runs a one-man operation. His wife cooks a meal for him. She cooks a big meal every night. Well, I don't eat meat. I'm a vegetarian or something or whatever. Let them know before.
That's the one. Episcopalian.
Episcopalian.
Isn't that what it is?
No, that's a church. Episcopal church.
I think
you're thinking of
diet.
The one that's on the fish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Episcopalian.
No, not a pescatarian.
A pescatarian?
Episcopalian is a church. Episcopal church. It's pescatarian.
Pescatarian.
Of course.
Pescatarian.
Yes.
Not Episcopalian.
No, pescatarian. And we never have fish up here. So
no, you're fucked if you're pescatarian.
We don't fry
you
nothing.
Better bring
so we
your
don't
own
have
trout.
Fish. Yes.
We don't even have water here. Like, you're going to get catfish maybe. Fried. And it's not even going to be the healthy way of eating it.
And that's when the coon ass is cooked.
That's right. Yeah,
or
you better hope that they're up here.
When my boy in California made ceviche last year, that shit was damn good.
Yeah, it was.
Anything else that we expect from the customers? Or
help the guide.
Yes,
help the guide.
Yes,
I mean,
unless you book an executive hunt.
Yes. Once again, you're going to get what you paid for. If you booked an executive hunt where you don't touch anything, you roll up 30 minutes before shooting time, sit in the blind, load your gun, and you're ready to go, that's what you paid for. That's what you should expect. But if you hunt out here, and most places that do goose hunts expect to set up and tear down.
Yes, we don't leave our shit up all year long, and you're expected to help, not sit in the truck.
Because we run everything on the assumption that you're going to set up. So when we wake up at 4:15 and we leave at 5 o'clock, it takes us 30 minutes to get to the field. It takes us 5 minutes to find the spot. You're looking anywhere from 5:35 to 5:45 arriving at the field. Shooting time, and I'm going off of memory here, is usually, so let's see right now, we're going to
an hour.
6:45
to 7 o'clock.
Yeah, roughly. Somewhere in there. We'll say shooting time is 7 o'clock. It's going to take us roughly an hour to set everything up. So we're working from 5:45 to 6:45. We'll go park the pickups. We'll drive back.
Assuming you're going to help, because that's what you're paid for.
Assuming that you're going to help. But if you don't help, that pushes us behind. Because now all of a sudden, we've got a group of 8 guys that, we should be able to set up the decoy spread, set up the blinds in an hour, maybe less. If you're sitting in the pickup or you're just standing around with your hands in your pockets, it's gonna take me and my helper guide a lot longer to do this. So now all of a sudden we're cutting into your hunt, and you cannot complain whenever you're running behind, but you didn't help set anything up.
Don't be a standing around motherfucker. Be a helper.
Yes, one hunt. Yes, and that will also help you not get hit by trailers whenever they're backing up.
If you want to do an executive hunt, we do an executive hunt. It's $100 extra per
most places
gun per day. That's right. But they're going to charge you an extra $100 a day per gun. Had a guy last year calls up. Well, we'd like to do executive hunt, but there's 12 of us. We don't want to pay $1,200 extra for that morning hunt.
Sounds like
and I said, well, for that $1,200, we're putting up the decoys and we're picking them up. Well, can't we just find some high school kids and give them a couple $100 to do it? Yeah, I'm going to let some fucking high school kids come out there and set up your spread and then pick up my shit. No, it ain't happening.
Right.
If you don't want to do the $100 extra, then help us do it. But if you want to sleep an extra little bit, 45 minutes or whatever it is, you're going to pay $100 a gun, whether there's 6 of you or there's 12 or 14 of you. It's $100 per person, per hunt, and we'll pick them up. We'll drive you to the spread, or you'll follow us a spread. You'll get there, like I said, Andy said, 15 minutes before shooting time, it'll be ready to go. And when the hunt's over, you drive straight to the lodge and they'll pick everything up. You don't have to do shit.
Right.
My guides will split that money up amongst themselves. Sometimes if it's not going to frost the night, they'll go set up the night before. Sometimes they'll go just put the blinds up the night before.
Yeah.
Some nights they don't do none of that shit and they get up at 3:30 and do it extra. But that's how they do it. And they'll chip in and help each other and they make extra money that way. I'm not making any extra money out of that way. I'm paying my guides extra money for doing it. But that's what it's going to cost to do an executive hunt. Every place out there offers that probably. Every place.
Yeah. Any place that's setting up a lot of decoys for sure. Now I can see if it's just this duck hunt, you're going to roll up to the blind, set out 3 dozen duck decoys and 2 spinners. I mean,
the guide might do it while you sit in the blind and watch him do it.
Like on the duck hunts, we've potentially, I set any duck hunt that I have, I usually set everything up by myself, unless there's an A-frame, and then I'll have clients do that.
Right.
But I mean, decoys and shit like that, spinners, that's all on me. But it doesn't take that long to throw out a couple dozen floaters.
But everything is offered. If you'll ask another outfitter, they'll probably do an executive hunt. If you don't want to help, and that's fine. Some guys don't. I'm a lazy fucker. I don't like to do shit like that.
I guess I should have said help when you're asked to help, because
Yes.
I can already see it now. Because it takes me a minute. I like to get everything organized. I like to I'll drag all the blinds out to where I want them set up, and then I'll start setting decoy bags, the dive bomb decoy bags, out where they are going to need to go. So when I said help, definitely help, but help in the manner that your guide asked you to help. Like, if he didn't ask you to drag all the decoys off the trailer, maybe don't drag all the decoys off the trailer. Most of the time, especially when you're hunting with me, I will tell you when and where I need you. But you're going to have to give me 10 minutes to get everything kind of where it needs to go, just so it flows a lot easier. Every guide is going to have his system. And when you're hunting on a guided hunt, you're adopting whoever you're with system. So if you hunt with me, I've got a different system than Blake, and he's got a different system than Josh, and he's got another little different system than Yoder. But each one of us has a system that we use every single morning. But don't just be the guy that goes to the trailer and rips it to shreds and, pulls all this shit out and scatters it out. Like, let him kind of get things organized. And then, and I tell my guys that, like, give me just a second. Let me get some of this stuff off of the trailer so that I can kind of tell you where it needs to go. But every year, you get a couple guys that just looks like, they just throw everything around. They think that they're being helpful. But the whole time that it's happening, and most of the time I'll put a stop to it, but there's sometimes like I don't see it happening, or I'm off helping somebody else do something and I get back and it's chaos. And I'm like, who the hell told you to do it this way? Nobody did, but they thought they were being helpful. So just listen to your guide when you're out there, because they got a system and they kind of know how things need to run, and they know when they're running behind and kind of need to pick things up. So rely on your guide. That's what you paid for. Anything else?
I can't think of anything else we've covered. We've
Been
covered
an hour and a half.
of just be a good person.
Be a decent human being. That's
in all
what it
things,
all boils
not just
down
hunting,
to.
just in life in general.
Just be a good neighbor. Be a good person. If you see somebody struggling, help them.
Take your kids hunting.
Take them hunting. Let them know, like, it's not about squeezing the trigger. It's about being together. As corny as that sounds, but that's what it's all about.
It is. If another thing too, if you booked a private trip somewhere, 8 gun minimum, most places are 8 or 6 guns, and they say, hey, my minimum's 8 people, and you take 8 adults there and you've got a child, say, hey, listen, I've got 8 adults. Could my son come as a 9th kid for free? Because any place should do that for you. Now,
You're putting a lot of these places on the spot, Jeff.
well, they should do that. If you book a private party with me and you've got one kid you want to bring him hunting, I'm not going to charge you for it. Not at all. Not for food, lodging, anything. Now, I'm not going to do 8 dads and 8 kids and not charge the kids. I can't do that. I've had guys do that. Well, there's 16 of us, 8 adults, and all they make kids for free. No, can't do that. Nobody else can. You shouldn't expect anybody to do that. But you should be able to expect
an extra.
If you've got if their minimum party for a private group is 6, and you say, hey, my 10-year-old kid is at the house, what are you going to charge? I'm telling you, I'm not going to charge you for that. So ask them that.
Should you tip for that kid?
Yes, you should.
You should.
Yes.
If he's shooting.
If he's shooting. If he's just going along, no. But if he's shooting and eating and everything, then now you should do that. You say, hey, I'm paying an extra $50, for him because he done that.
Right.
I have a guy that hunts with me every year, and he brings his son on a hunt. And he told me last year, he said, listen, I can't afford $60 tip a day for both of us for 3 days. I just can't do it, blah, blah, blah. I told him, I said, that's fine,
Yeah.
And he goes, if I pay just half for him, would that be okay? Yeah, whatever you want to do. It's a tip. Right. And if you didn't tip for the kid, nobody's going to get upset anyways. No. All my guys know. They're just happy to see you take a kid with you. But, yeah, if you have the means and do it, yes, the kid ate, the kid hunted. Right. I'm not charging for meals or the hunt, then tip,
Right.
Accordingly. Just be a good person. That's what this is about,
Have a little bit of compassion for your neighbor, have a little bit of understanding, and listen, if you take your buddy out there and he's hunting it the next day, you should expect it. Have compassion for that. Have compassion for that guy. He doesn't have anywhere else to hunt, Jeff. He's got to go to your spot.
So Mitch should make some friends then. Well, all right. We appreciate y'all listening to us. We got another podcast coming out on Friday that will be about fentanyl.
That's right. We got the big time attorney coming in here, and
a prosecuting attorney. So it'll be interesting talking a lot about drugs and dumbasses and stuff and overcoming and all kinds of stuff. We are now
the drug podcast.
Yes, we are.
The drug podcast of the waterfowl world.
Yep.
Who'd have thought? All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Go check out our sponsors. Listen, now's the time. Get signed up for Dirty Duck Coffee. The subscription comes right to your door. You don't want to do that, use the promo code Big Honker Podcast or Big Honker 15% off. Also go check out Ducks Unlimited, Double T British Kennels, the Hunt Proof app, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Bangtail Whiskey, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Podcast, Gundog Outdoors, Shin Gear Waders, Pacific Calls, BHP 25, Dive Bomb Industries, and Boss Shot Shells.